and there's not any real lifting involved, which is super nice. Arguably one of the biggest pain in the butt attachments to attach. So. Well, I thought this was going to be easier to show than it actually is, but hopefully that's a decent camera angle. So basically I have the tractor backed in here. I have the 3-point lowered to the down position. Next thing I'm going to do is pull the pins. I have the side support have pins in them so you can move them back and forth. Just find that it's easier. It's not necessary per se, but it's just easier to take those out. What I do next is I get behind it. It's still strapped to the beam in the back of the shop. And what I do is I lift up on this, put my leg behind it. I store the pins on the inside, but I generally hook up to the outside. So then I'm gonna put that on, put that pin in. I'm gonna do the same on the other side. It's probably harder to see, but same idea. Generally speaking, it's not too bad. There we go. So still the weight of it is supported mostly by the strap on the, what is it? It's not a motor, but you know what I mean. I'm gonna go ahead and put these pins back in so it just has a little less movement. It will still have some, but I'm gonna start the tractor up and I'm gonna lift it and move this main bar up to this position once I take this top link out. So I'll take that out. Obviously I'm going to use the same pin. So keep that handy. Let's set top link aside. Start this up. And basically I'm just going to walk it up till it gets to the point where I can hook it up in here. I may end up having to roll the tractor forward a little bit, but so far I really haven't had to lift anything, which is nice. Alright, so hopefully you can hear me fine. I'm going to go ahead and lift this up. And you can see I'm already going to hit the connection where the hitch goes. So I'm going to go ahead and just roll the tractor forward. A little bit. Still attached up here on top, so it's not going anywhere. I got more clearance here. I'm just going to walk this up. I'm getting close, but you can see where my hole's at. I'm going to need to go out a little bit further. So I'm going to roll the tractor forward again. Don't need to go too far. Go back here again. Lock this up. It's gonna go in the slot there. I'm gonna get it close, somewhere about right in there. Now I gotta find a different place to put the camera. All right, so it looks like we need to go a little bit forward. I might loosen the strap if I need to. We'll see. Oh, that was my pin I heard fall down. Note to self, don't put it on the gas tank. So, pin's in. Now I gotta find the, I think it may have fallen, kind of see. It's still strapped to the wall, and we have it hooked up in 3 spots. I still need to put the pin in. Now we're gonna unstrap it. So basically, with regard to my strap, I'm just gonna loosen this up and unhook it here. Sometimes I have to pull it around the beam a little bit. It's hard to do one-handed. Unhook this. Alright, so now we're unhooked. What I do now is I go ahead and lift it up off the ground so that I can turn it in order to hook it on to the PTO. So I'm going to lift it up a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to lift the PTO a little bit to get the auger off the ground. Hopefully you can see that's moving back there. Just enough to get it off the ground so I can hook the shaft up. Okay, I find it easier to hook the shaft up if you put this, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but this little button that releases the PTO shaft to go ahead and lock on. I find it's easier if it's closer to the top so I can get my fingers on it. And since we jacked it up, we have the flexibility of being able to move it. So it just goes right on there. Push the button down, lock it on. So it's locked. And then we'll close this a little bit, put our chains up. And you're good to go. All right, guys, so once I pull the postal digger auger out of the shop, then I can kind of do my inspection. I can make adjustments on the 3-point if I need to straighten it out a little bit, tighten up the arms a little bit, check the oil, check the pins. I did find my other pin under the seat there. So anyway, it's easier to inspect it once it's outside here. But basically that's how I hook it up. Took a little longer because I was filming, but usually it goes pretty quick and there's not any real lifting involved, which is super nice. Arguably one of the biggest pain in the butt attachments to attach. So I don't know if that'd be helpful or not, but I did look up storage of these units when I bought it and came up with different videos and different ideas. And so if you haven't seen any of those, this might be just a little bit different also, and it might be helpful to somebody. So there you have it. Thanks for checking it out. I appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate people subscribing, checking out the videos, sharing them. And I've learned a ton just from more experienced folks commenting and making suggestions. So I appreciate that. And all right. So I have finished up my holes for the day. I didn't show you that video because I've done videos on digging holes and probably nobody needs to see that. But we're getting ready to back this back in the shop and basically do the opposite of the hookup. So here we go. so first things first, we're gonna hook it back up to the wall or the beam or whatever you want to call it. So basically, got that strap in. This other strap over here, put that on there, and then we're just gonna tighten this up. Probably I'm gonna need both hands to do that, but you get the idea. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this up now. All right, so nothing crazy, just want to get it tight. It doesn't need to be super tight. It's just holding it up against that beam. So now we're gonna disconnect the PTO. All right, disconnect the PTO. And obviously you want to hold on to this so it doesn't come out. I mean, that's my theory anyway. And you can basically just set it on. That's why I have this piece of plywood on the ground, so I don't get gravel in it. But you can set it down. It's long enough to reach that. You just don't want to pull it all the way out or let it go, because that would be bad. You can kind of see where you are with this top pin. Sometimes it's loose enough just to go ahead and undo it. So that would be the next step if it works. Okay, so sometimes you can just jiggle this pin and it'll come out. And that worked. So you're free there. Now we're gonna have to pull the tractor forward a little bit in order to let the arms down. Basically going to be move forward enough so that we can clear where that pin goes into the top length spot. May not even need to pull forward, but we'll see how it goes. I'll push down on the lever here. Like we might clear. Almost. But not quite. We'll pull forward just a hair. Obviously you don't want to pull forward too far, because you'll be pulling on your equipment. So now we're clear. We're basically going to take the 3-point all the way down as far as it'll go. So the shaft's probably keeping it from going down further, but I pushed the lever all the way down. Right. So let's see if, well, shaft's not holding it. All right. So it might be that we're just tied up here, that's as low as it's going to let us go, which is fine. It'll still work. Sometimes I can get it down lower. Again, I'm going to take these side pins out so it makes it easier. Take the pin out of there, store it in here. I kind of put my body underneath it to kind of support it. And then that's going to come out, and I just throw this pin back in so I don't forget. And that's that pin. Okay, so now we just got to go to this side. Got my body, basically my body weight just against it is all. Not really having to lift it. It's still on the 3-point. This is the part you got to lift a hair. Kick that off, and we're just going to set this down. And that's it. And then we're stored again. All right. So it could be argued that the post hole digger, auger, whatever they call it in your end of the country, is one of the biggest pain in the butts to get on and off. And so I thought I'd show you how I do it. And this is kind of the system that works for me. You can see it's pretty straightforward. Hopefully it's helpful. I don't really want to have to lift it or juggle it because it wants to kind of go its own way. But having it tied up while I'm hooking it up and having it tied up when I'm taking it off makes it pretty easy. Hopefully a short little video that helps. And Can't remember what I'm going to do next, but you'll see it soon. So take care of yourselves. Thanks for checking it out, and we will talk to you soon. Lucy's taking on the deer.
Oh my gosh.
He wants to play. They all want to play now. They're like, hey.
Oh, cat.
Yeah, they're like, hey, you guys. Don't you want to play? Come on. Don't go away. So funny.